Hey, I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some really practical, concrete strategies that you can use to support your students who are learning English as a second language when it's writing time. Now, in addition to supporting ELLs, these strategies are also really helpful for your struggling writers, maybe students with special needs, any kind of student that needs support with writing. This stuff will be super helpful. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to do that now, and then also hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a brand new video about teaching literacy in K2. Okay, so let's dive in. One place to start when you have students who are learning English as a second language or need a little bit of help with writing is to include a word bank. Now, this thing that I'm showing you here, I have these differentiated writing prompts for kindergarten, first and second grade. I have them for narrative, opinion, and informational writing, but a word bank honestly can apply to most types of writing. So in this prompt, don't know if you can see it, but it says, write about a time when you lost a tooth. And so in the word bank for the second graders here, I have fell, bit, pillow, pulled, mouth, fairy. So words that would be relevant when they're writing about losing a tooth. So whether you have the word bank right on the paper like I do here, whether you have it on the board, maybe you have it on a half sheet of paper, what this does is, number one, it gives the kids vocabulary. It can actually elevate the level of vocabulary that they're using. Like maybe your ELLs wouldn't know the word pillow, or they wouldn't know the word, mouth or something like that. So you can elevate the language that the kids are using by giving them some of these words. Of course, you would want to go over these words and talk about what they mean so that they can use them, which again is a perfect opportunity for vocabulary instruction. The other nice thing too is writing out of the four: listening, speaking, reading, writing. Writing is the most challenging way to use language. And so for English language learners, when they're writing, they're thinking about so much. They're thinking about their ideas in English. They're thinking about, like, how do I spell words, spacing, punctuation, grammar. Like, there's a lot going on in, like, a student who speaks English as their first language versus, a kid who is, just imagine how much more is going on in the brain of a kiddo who's learning English as their second or third or fourth language, right? There's a lot going on. And so a word bank not only can elevate the language and vocabulary that they use, but it can also take away a little bit of that cognitive load because you're giving them a few words right off the bat. The words are spelled for them. So a word bank can be a really good support. Okay, let's move on to another strategy that you can use with your English language learners. You may have done this in the past already, and that strategy, this one's already filled out, but that strategy is to give them sentence starters or sentence frame. So for example, in this prompt, it says, what is your favorite kind of weather? Why? And so then the sentence starters, and again, this is for second grade, this is for kindergarten, so you can kind of see the difference. The sentence starters say, my favorite kind of weather is blank. I like it because blank. Okay, so it's helpful in getting kids going, especially if they can't write a lot of words, or if structuring sentences grammatically is challenging for them. You're essentially teaching them grammar, right? Because you're starting the sentence for them. You're not teaching them grammar, but you're reinforcing English sentence structure by giving them these sentence starters. These sentence starters are also helpful for any students who have trouble organizing and structuring their writing. Even if they're fluent English speakers, great, but maybe they, forget to state, if it's opinion, state their opinion first and then give reasons. Sentence starters can be used to help them with that. And the sentence starters don't even have to be that specific. It could just be first, next, then last, right? Like with this lost a tooth situation, right? What happened first, next, then last. So just structuring and helping them a little bit with grammar. So sentence starters or sentence frames. The last tool that I want to show you is a self-assessment checklist. And here's an example. Hopefully you can see that okay. So this says things like, I used capital letters correctly, I used correct punctuation, I used spelling strategies, my story has one clear topic, I included many details, stuff like that, right? So the stuff that you're looking for in their writing. This is good for English language learners because, again, with that big cognitive load of writing, all the things that they're thinking about, it can be very tiring. And so you may have kids that maybe they're trying very hard, but there's still things that you want to see from them that you know they can do, but they're just forgetting because there's so much other stuff that they're thinking about when they're writing in that second language. And so having the little, checklist thing at the end of the page is a really good reminder that when they're done, they don't need to just say, hey, I'm done, and turn it in. Instead, they need to review their own work, and you will have to model this many times and give reminders. They need to review their work and then check off once they reviewed their work for each individual item on the checklist. You can have it on a separate sheet of paper, yes. You could have it on the board or like on a poster displayed in the classroom, yes. I just like having it on the paper sometimes. And this is drafting paper, right? Like if we were gonna publish it, we'd put it on paper without it, but it can be helpful to have it on here sometimes just because it's literally right there. So it's a lot easier for the kids. It's a lot less easy for the kids to forget to review that self-assessment checklist before they decide that they're done. This self-assessment checklist is also very helpful if you have some fast finishers who maybe like speed through their work. And honestly, like with a lot of these tools, the self-assessment checklist can help any kiddo, right? It's just a reminder because for all kids, writing can be very challenging, especially when they're first learning to write. So the word banks, the sentence starters, the self-assessment checklist can truly benefit most students in a primary classroom. And if you use something like my differentiated writing prompts, you can give different kids different versions of a prompt. So like some of your kids might just get this blank one, write about a time when you lost a tooth. Perfect. Some of your kids, maybe you do sentence starters. Some of your kids, maybe you do sentence starters and a word bank. Maybe some of your kids have, I don't know if I have an example, but all three, right? Like sentence starters, a word bank, and then the self-assessment checklist. You don't have to go bananas and give every single kid a different type of writing paper, but the beauty with these differentiated writing prompts is that you just print exactly what versions you want and you distribute them to your students and you give the kids who need that support the support. And the kids who don't need it don't have to have it. You could even offer it as an option, right? Like we do have that conversation of everybody's going to get something different. And that's, that's just how it is because everybody, that whole conversation of everybody has different needs and we can support different kids in our class in different ways. Of course, we have that conversation, but you could also sometimes let them choose what kind of supports do they want for their writing because not always, but often kids, especially, later first grade, second grade, they will know what they need and they will know what they don't need. So hope those ideas are helpful. Again, we did word banks, the sentence starters or sentence frames, and the self-assessment checklist. I'll include a link for these differentiated writing prompts along with this post so you can grab those if you want those. They are a big time saver because you just print them off and they've got everything you need and they've got options. But of course, you can always make your own word banks, put it on the board, etc., etc. All right, I hope this video was helpful. If you would like to dig deeper into your writing block and effective writing instruction for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade students, I actually have a full-length 1-hour workshop. It's just professional development that's free and includes a certificate and some free downloads as well. So look for that link. And then also I'm going to include the link for the differentiated writing prompts if you feel that's something that would be helpful to you and your students. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.